A week before my wedding, my fiancé's parents took him on a family trip. When he came back, he seemed distant and said, "I think we should take a break." I just smiled and handed him a file, saying that's funny because I just got some info about that trip. When he saw the file, he looked at his parents in anger. We were supposed to get married that month. Everything was ready: the venue, the dress, the guests, the cake. We had spent months planning. The wedding was in Savannah, Georgia, where we lived. I thought everything was fine. My fiancé Derek and I had been together for 3 years, and I thought he was the one. We weren't perfect, but no couple is. We didn't fight much. He made me laugh, and we both wanted the same things. I was happy, but his parents didn't like me. His mom, Ruth, judged people based on things like their shoes. His dad, Walter, didn't talk much unless he was bragging about his car or complaining about young people. They never liked me. I wasn't from a fancy family. I had a regular job, and I didn't care about golf memberships or which school you went to. Derek always told me not to worry, that his parents would come around, but they didn't. About a week before the wedding, Derek told me his parents were taking him on a trip to Miami. They didn't really have a reason, just a getaway before the wedding. I thought the timing was strange but didn't say anything. Looking back, I should have realized something was wrong when he was too eager to leave. He barely said goodbye when he left. By Saturday night, I knew something was wrong. My best friend, Sai, lives in Miami and works at a bar downtown, the kind of place people go to show off their money. She called me during her shift. "Isn't Derek supposed to be getting married next weekend?" she asked. "Yeah, why?" "Well, I think I just saw him with his parents and some girl." My stomach dropped. She said they were sitting at a VIP table all night. Derek, his parents, and a girl. Young, blonde, fake tan, short dress. She didn't seem like someone who was just sitting nearby. C said Ruth and Walter were all over this girl, laughing with her, asking her questions. Derek didn't push her away. That's when I realized they didn't just want a trip before the wedding. They wanted Derek to meet someone else. I don't remember much after that call. I sat quietly for a long time, then got angry, really angry. When I'm mad, I focus. Sunday morning, I started making calls and found a private investigator in Miami who specializes in relationship issues. I pay extra to follow Derek and his family until they left. By Monday afternoon, I had photos. Tuesday, I had videos. Wednesday, I had a full report: restaurants, hotels, bars, shopping, dinners. Derek was with the girl at every event, holding doors for her, laughing at her jokes, sitting close. His parents encouraged it. There was even a photo of Ruth and Walter walking ahead, holding hands like proud parents, while Derek and the girl lagged behind, whispering to each other. I didn't tell anyone yet. I just waited. Derek came back late Sunday night. Monday morning, he came over. I acted normal, made coffee, and asked how the trip went. He was quiet and jumpy, avoiding my eyes. Then he said, "I think we should take a break." I stared at him. A break? 6 days before the wedding. I didn't ask why. I just smiled, grabbed the folder with the photos and report, and slid it to him. "That's funny," I said, because I just got some info on that trip. He opened the folder. At first he looked confused, then his face turned white. He flipped through the pictures over and over, like hoping they'd change. They didn't. Then the door opened. Ruth and Walter walked in like they owned the place. Ruth was carrying a planner, and Walter was on his phone. "Hope we're not too early," Ruth said. "We have a lot to go over, Todd." Then she saw Derek's face, the folder, and me sitting there. Silence filled the room for a minute. Then Derek finally spoke. "What the hell is this?" he asked, looking at Ruth and Walter. Walter pretended not to hear. Ruth tried to laugh it off. "Come on, don't be dramatic," she said. Derek looked at the folder, then at me. "How did you get these?" he asked. I shrugged. "Doesn't matter. You and your parents can figure out what to do next. I'm done." That's where things stand now. No final decision yet. The wedding is obviously off for now. I haven't told most of my friends or family. I'm still trying to figure out what to do next. But watching Derek realize his parents tried to replace me with someone else, just days before our wedding, that was the first good moment I had in days. The silence after I said I was done was thick. Ruth set her planner down like we were still going to talk about flowers or seating charts. "Let's not overreact," she said, pretending to be calm. like I was being difficult on purpose. These pictures don't mean anything. We just wanted Derek to meet some new people. That's normal. I looked at Derek. He was still staring at the folder like he was trying to make sense of it. New people? I said, louder than I meant to. A week before our wedding, you thought that was normal. Walter finally looked up from his phone. Don't make a scene, he said, not even blinking. We were thinking long term. We didn't want Derek tied down if there might be better options. I swear, I felt my breath leave me. Better options? Derek didn't say anything. He just kept flipping through the folder like maybe the outcome would change if he looked again. His face was red now, embarrassed, angry. I couldn't tell. Maybe both. You let them do this? I asked. You went along with it. He finally looked up. It wasn't like that. What was it like? I asked. You thought maybe you'd try someone new while I stayed home finishing the guest list? He rubbed his forehead like I was the problem. I just wanted to keep the peace. That's when I laughed. It wasn't on purpose, but it came out loud. Keep the peace, I said. You could have just told me you didn't want to get married. Instead, you flew to Miami to see if someone better came along. Ruth sat on the couch like she owned the place. This is getting ridiculous. We didn't tell you because we knew how you'd react. Emotional, over the top. Look at yourself. I don't know what came over me, but I grabbed the folder, pulled out a photo of Derek and the girl, Madison, according to the report, and held it up in Ruth's face. This is ridiculous, I said. You brought her on a trip with your son and tried to replace me. How do you not hear yourself? Walter stood up and straightened his jacket like he was leaving a business meeting. You should calm down. This doesn't need to get messy. That's when something inside me changed. Oh, it's already messy, I said, and it's about to get worse. I didn't mean to say it. It just came out. But as soon as I said it, I realized I wasn't bluffing. I still had the rest of the private investigator's PI report in my email, much more than I printed out, receipts, hotel charges, flight changes. I even had a video of Ruth and Madison at the hotel bar, where Ruth told her, once this wedding is over, you and Derek will have all the time in the world. I hadn't shown Derek that part yet, but now I was thinking maybe I should. Derek ran his hand through his hair. Look, I don't even like Madison. My mom invited her. It wasn't my idea. Did you tell her to leave? Did you tell your parents? I asked. No, he replied, sounding guilty. Yeah, I thought so, I said, letting the silence hang. Then Ruth turned to Derek, ignoring me completely. Enough. Don't let her ruin everything. Just tell her you didn't mean it. Calm her down, and we'll move forward. She actually said that right in front of me, like I was just a problem to deal with. That's when Derek finally spoke up. Mom, stop. For the first time, Ruth looked surprised. What? Derek asked, quieter now. You're making it worse. Oh, now I'm making it worse. Ruth shot back. I spent months fixing everything you didn't do right. The guest list, the menu, the decorations, none of it is good enough. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at Derek, and this is okay with you? You're still defending them. He didn't answer. Just then, my phone buzzed on the table. I checked it. It was a text from my best friend, Sai. Girl, I just overheard Madison at the bar. You won't believe what she's saying. Call me ASAP. I locked eyes with Ruth. I think I'll be making some calls, I said, standing up. Actually, I think I'll be making a lot of calls. Walter spoke again, finally. Let's be reasonable. We don't need to make this public. Too late, I said. That's when I got an idea. If Madison was still talking in Miami, I needed to hear exactly what she was saying. And if Ruth and Walter thought this would stay quiet, they were wrong. I didn't reply to C's text immediately. I just stared at Derek, Ruth, and Walter, sitting there like it was some normal meeting. Derek looked guilty, Ruth was annoyed, and Walter acted like he wasn't involved. And all I could think was, what else are they hiding? I turned to Derek. How long have you known Madison? He shook his head. I didn't know her before the trip. Ruth scoffed. Please stop acting like you're on trial. The only one who did something wrong is Derek. He didn't look so sure anymore. I grabbed my phone, walked into the kitchen, and called Say. She picked up immediately. Hey, you need to hear this, she said. Madison's been here all afternoon, bragging about how she's finally sealing the deal. I was silent as C kept talking. She told her friend that your wedding was never supposed to happen. Apparently, Ruth promised her that if she got close to Derek on the trip, they'd take care of the rest. Take care of the rest? I repeated, confused. Yeah, like break up the wedding and replace you. Madison's been telling everyone she was flown out to Miami to break you two up. That's when my heart started pounding. This wasn't some random invite. C said they planned it. I hung up and walked back to the living room. I set my phone down on the table and looked directly at Ruth. So, I said, how much did you pay her? Ruth blinked. Excuse me? Madison, how much did you pay her to come on the trip and throw herself at Derek? Walter shifted in his seat. Derek rubbed his face. Ruth just smiled. You really are dramatic, she said. I just got off the phone with someone who heard Madison explaining the whole plan. She said you promised her the wedding would be called off and Derek would be available. So again, how much did you pay her? Still no answer. Derek looked at Ruth, quiet now. Then Ruth shrugged and said, we gave her a little incentive. Nothing serious. Some gifts, a bit of spending money. Why are we acting like this is a crime? I couldn't believe it. They paid her to help break us up before the wedding. Derek? He just sat there, looking like he was finally realizing how deep in this he was. I thought you invited her as a friend of the family, he said. Ruth laughed. Please, you didn't mind her company. Now Derek looked sick. That's when I decided to take things further. Oh, and by the way, I said Madison's been running her mouth all day. If I wanted to, I could share that little story with a few people. Maybe post it online. Maybe send it to the venues. Maybe let the wedding guests know exactly why things are off. Walter cleared his throat. There's no need for that. Let's not do anything drastic. But I wasn't done. Drastic? I said. You think I'm being drastic. Your family tried to replace me a week before my wedding, and I'm the problem. Then my phone buzzed again. Another text from C. Just found out Madison's still in town and asking when Derek's coming back. I looked at Derek. Did you know she stayed? He shook his head fast. No, I didn't. I haven't talked to her since the trip. I swear. But now everything was starting to make sense. Ruth hired Madison to mess with Derek. She probably promised her more than just spending money. Madison clearly expected this to turn into something real, and Derek? Either he was lying, or he had no idea what was happening. Neither was good. Tell me the truth, I said. Did you ever want to call off the wedding before Miami? He hesitated. Maybe, he said. I wasn't sure. And they kept saying I should see what else is out there. I just nodded. Cool, I said. Good to know, because now I knew the truth. I wasn't just dealing with manipulative future in-laws. I was dealing with a man who sat back and watched it all happen and called it keeping the peace. And Madison wasn't just some girl they invited randomly. She was part of the plan. A plan that wasn't over. If she was still in town waiting for Derek, then Ruth's little swap wasn't finished yet. But here's the thing, neither am I. And now I have all the proof. Now they know I know. And now it's time they get what they deserve. I didn't sleep that night. I replayed everything over and over. The trip, Madison, the lies, Derek admitting he wasn't sure he wanted to marry me before Miami. And now I knew why the whole trip fell off. It was never a family getaway. It was a setup. By morning, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I made a few calls. I forwarded the PI report to Cy. I texted my maid of honor, Tina, to meet me at the coffee shop near my apartment. I needed backup. Are you sure you're ready for this? Tina asked. Oh, I'm past ready, I said. It's time they explain themselves to everyone. And that's how I ended up inviting Derek, Ruth, Walter, and Madison to the venue the next day. The actual wedding venue. I told them we needed an urgent meeting about the ceremony. Ruth, of course, thought it was just a last-minute rehearsal. She had no clue what was coming. By noon, everyone was there. The venue staff were setting up chairs for the real wedding, which was supposed to happen in a few days. It felt unreal to watch them work while everything was falling apart. Madison showed up last, dressed like she thought she was the bride. Short white dress, heels, heavy makeup. When she walked in and saw me, she smirked. I didn't realize this was a group meeting, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Yeah, I said. Figured we'd clear the air. Everyone sat down at one of the big round tables. Derek looked exhausted. Walter looked bored. Ruth looked smug. Madison looked like she thought she'd already won. And me? I opened my laptop, connected it to the venue's projector, and pulled up the photos from the PI report on the big screen behind me. First slide, Derek and Madison by the pool. Second slide, Ruth and Madison having drinks. Third slide, Madison kissing Derek on the cheek while Walter watched. No one spoke. Then I hit play on the video, the one where Ruth told Madison, "Once this wedding is over, you and Derek will have all the time in the world." The room was silent, except for Ruth's voice echoing. When it ended, I turned around. "Anyone want to explain that?" Ruth finally cracked. "Oh, grow up. You're turning this into a scandal." Nothing happened. Derek didn't cheat. Madison is just a friend you paid. I said, "We know." Madison told everyone at the bar in Miami. Half of South Beach knows the plan by now. Madison tossed her hair. "Well, not half, but yeah, it wasn't exactly a secret. Your wedding was never going to happen. Derek deserves someone who fits in, someone with class." She actually said that out loud. Tana, who had been quiet until now, laughed sarcastically and said, "Jesus Christ." Then Derek stood up, and for a second, I thought maybe he would defend me. But no, he looked at his mom, then at Madison, and then at me. All he said was, "I think we should all just go our separate ways." That's when I realized he was never going to stand up for me. Not now, not ever. This wasn't just Ruth's plan. Derek was okay with it. Maybe he didn't start it, but he let it happen. He watched it happen. He wanted an out, and his parents gave it to him. I closed my laptop, packed it into my bag, and stood up. "Well," I said, "this is the last time any of you will ever see me. Good luck explaining this when people start asking why the wedding's off." And with that, I walked out. The second I stepped outside, Tana followed. "You handled that like a queen," she said. "Seriously, you should have slapped someone." But that was better. Callie called me about 10 minutes later. "You are not going to believe this," she said. "Madison's already posting Instagram stories, acting like she just got engaged to Derek. I mean, literally hashtagging things like #future and #upgrade. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because what else could I do? By the end of the day, word was spreading. People were texting me, asking why the wedding was suddenly canceled. Ruth tried to say it was because of mutual differences, but it didn't stick. Madison couldn't keep quiet. By the next week, everyone knew. The fallout was big. Ruth and Walter lost a lot of friends. Turns out people don't like being part of a wedding where the groom's parents tried to bribe another woman into replacing the bride. Derek stayed with Madison for about 3 weeks. She left as soon as she realized the high life she was promised wasn't real. No wedding, no fancy lifestyle, no cash. Just Derek and his boring personality. Madison got roasted online. Say might have shared some of those Miami stories with the right people. And me? Honestly, it hurt. It hurt more than I wanted to admit. For a long time, I kept wondering what I missed. How I didn't see the signs. How Derek let it go this far. How Ruth and Walter thought they could actually pull this off. Like we were in some soap opera. But once everything calmed down, there was this weird sense of peace. I wasn't married to a man who didn't love me. I wasn't tied to a family that thought I wasn't good enough. And instead of crying in my old wedding dress, I spent the weekend with my real friends. We threw the most ridiculous non-wedding party you've ever seen. Champagne, karaoke. I even brought my wedding cake and smashed it with forks. And around midnight, I realized I wasn't sad anymore. I was free. And honestly, that felt better than any wedding ever could.